Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Author Podcast. This is episode 3. We're going to talk about an opening rant about insurance and fiduciary responsibilities. We're going to talk about things I like and, of course, laughter as medicine. Let's go. All right. Our opening rant today is, like I said, insurance and fiduciary responsibilities. Now, it's kind of odd, right? So what does this even mean? Let's start with some terms. So insurance is a policy we buy in order to share risk of something happening. For car insurance, it covers car repairs or medical expenses in the event of an accident, injury, theft, etc. For medical, it's supposed to cover if we get sick or need surgery. Say you offer $1 million for a hole-in-one on a golf tournament. Well, they buy an insurance policy about that. It's unlikely to happen, so the insurance company might charge them $5,000 to cover $1 million policy, right? But insurance is not what American health insurance is anymore. Now we all view it as healthcare coverage. In fact, they start using that line, right? Do you have healthcare coverage? What does that even mean? It means that we wanted to pay for anything that might be even related to healthcare, even expenses that are assumed, like annual checkups, and now transportation to appointments. That's not insurance. That's prepaid healthcare coverage. But that's a topic for a different video. Today, we're going to talk about fiduciary responsibilities and how it relates to healthcare. So a fiduciary responsibility means a relationship where one person must act in the best interest of someone else. So a lawyer, a guardian, regulators, parents, doctors, financial advisors, that kind of thing. So my financial advisor is mandated to do what's in my best interest. He can't sell me an annuity that's an awful investment vehicle simply because he gets a massive commission on it. Why? Because it's my money, my retirement. It's important. To interact with me in that role, he has to agree to the fiduciary requirement. But what about health insurance companies? It's literally our lives. It's our health. Why aren't they mandated to make decisions that are in our best interest? I'm not saying they should be forced to cover everything. I'm saying stop all the behind-the-scenes deals that make you money and take it from me, the customer, and the patient. So as a doctor, I can't refer someone for testing if I have a financial benefit from that referral. Meaning I own an imaging center and refer my patient to that facility. And I can't tell a pulmonologist, hey, I'll send you a patient if you give me $20 referral fee for everyone I send him. But insurance companies, people who literally determine whether we can undergo recommended procedures or receive recommended meds, they do it all day long. The insurance companies now vertically own the entire chain of healthcare. The insurance company who writes your policy that you pay tens of thousands of dollars to, they own the pharmacy benefit management company that decides what meds you can get and what you pay for. They own the pharmacy where you fill your medication, and now even the medical group your doctor works for and the hospital they work in. It's insanity, but I can't refer to an imaging center that I have a financial interest in. So let's look at one program, GoodRx pharmacy discounts, right? It's a free discount program to save you money. Now often the GoodRx discount price is cheaper than your insurance copay, and of course there's a reason for that. Your insurance company does its level best to make sure that you use the GoodRx discount instead of your own benefits. Because when you do, the payment at the pharmacy doesn't go towards your deductible. Now, GoodRx works independently with 19 of the top 20 drug manufacturers, according to their own website. And these companies develop rebate systems using codes given to the pharmacy when you pay for your med. And that pharmacy then pays GoodRx a referral fee for bringing them the customer, as well as the PBM when I fill a script there using their code. So when you use the GoodRx discount code, that doesn't go through your pharmacy benefits with your insurance, meaning that payment doesn't count towards your deductible, even if you're using a covered medication. And that's because you didn't use the pharmacy codes on your insurance card. Manufacturers have hidden rebates offered to PBMs, and therefore your insurance company, because remember, it's a vertical ownership. Now these are incentives to use and market that manufacturer's drugs to pharmacies and insurance companies. I mean, I get that. You want to promote your own product and you make financial incentives to do so. But how much is this referral fee? Who knows? It's hidden. It's private. There's no transparency on it. Now, GoodRx says that it earns about 15% of the overall prescription fee paid to a pharmacy. Let's look at an example from my own life. Epinephrine. I needed EpiPens for the family. We happen to like AviQ. I happen to have one right here. Actually, I have 8. But it's a newer version. It's smaller, doesn't look like a spear, and it speaks to you when you open it. Oh, there we go.
If having an allergic emergency, pull red safety guard down and off of AviQ.
Isn't that nice? Pull that off.
If not ready to use, replace the outer case.
Okay.
Do not replace red safety guard once removed.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. So
Having an allergic emergency, pull red safety guard down and off of AviQ.
So once I would pull that off, it would then move on to step 2, where it would tell me to put it on, hold down until I hear the click, and hold it, and then get to a hospital or call 911. It's really helpful, actually. So the AviQ is great if a bystander needs to use it on you and they don't understand how it works. Now, I can get a 2-pack mailed to my home from the manufacturer directly to my doorstep for $150 cash. I'm like, great, right? So I sent an order in, but my insurance company denied it, saying they demanded I use a generic equivalent or get a prior authorization, which we all know would be denied. So in other words, the less fancy bulk generic is what my insurance would cover, right? A journal click. Kind of cheapo. That's how it is, standard stuff. Fine. So I send that order into the online pharmacy, and guess what? Insurance denied it. Because the only online pharmacy I can use with my insurance happens to be the one owned by my insurance company. Thinking, all right, well, they'll get me a discount, right? Probably makes sense for them to do it that way. So I call them and ask them how much the product's going to be. They can't tell me. So I asked if I'll be notified of the cost prior to shipping, and they said, absolutely, sir, yes. Then 3 days later, the 2-pack of EpiPen shows up at my house, along with a $380 bill. I wanted 2 name brand better devices for $150, and they forced me into generic for $380. I was livid. And it also said no returns on the invoice. So I call them up, spend an hour on the phone talking to various people airing my grievances. The insurance company says call the PBM. The PBM says call the insurance company. Well, yes, I was pissed. I was a Karen. I wanted a manager. And honestly, being a Karen's a good thing, but more on that in a future episode. So I asked them, why do they force me to spend over twice as much on an inferior product? And they had no answer. Of course, it's because of the formulary established by the PBM and my insurance company, who own each other. Now, they claim to not own each other, right? But they're owned by the same parent entity. So the son doesn't own the daughter, and then the parent just washes their hands of the whole affair, but they all sleep under the same roof and they vacation together. So the GoodRx price for the EpiPen 2-pack that I received at the time for $380 was $170, but my insurance company thought I should pay $380. So we know it's much cheaper than the $170 to obtain, right? Because GoodRx proved that it's available cheaper and even provides a rebate to the PBM and a profit to the pharmacy. So the pharmacy, which in this case was also my insurance company, wanted to make a ton of money off me if I buy their $380 generic. But if I wanted to save $230 and pay cash, well, then the $150 I spent at the pharmacy or to get the AviQ wouldn't count towards my deductible. And that means they would make another $150 on me if I hit my max out-of-pocket deductible. So why can't my insurance company act like GoodRx and set up all of those discounts and rebates for me, who already pays $23,000 a year for a policy that gets me a $5,000 individual and $10,000 family out-of-pocket deductible? Why are they profiting off of me filling prescriptions and incentivizing me to spend the most money I can? Now, I'm not a big fan of government regulation, trust me, but it's the reality in healthcare now. So instead of regulating doctors into oblivion, how about we force insurance companies to divest themselves of vertical ownership of the healthcare delivery model? I'm getting pretty fired up if you can't tell. How about we force them to offer consumers any rebate and match the lowest free discount possible? Is it too much to ask that what I paid $23,000 for would give me access to a cost at least as cheap as a free discount? How about we force the transparency of the behind-the-scenes cost shifting and rebates in the healthcare industry? How is this not anti-competitive and antitrust? Now, a few companies control most of the market in this, especially in the PBMs. Now, I hope that the new administration dives into this and puts a stop to it because it's costing Americans billions and limiting our access to everything. So thanks for listening to my rant. It's a very personal one and one I'll continue speaking out until it's fixed. So, okay, moving on to the next section, laughter. Of course, the best medicine. Okay, now take a look at this video I'm going to play. I saw this on Facebook the other day and immediately shared it with all my medical friends. Take a look. So this is absolutely hilarious. Now, first of all, what's this guy doing? Is this a cultural thing? Is this a rite of passage? Did the recipient screw up and is getting punished by this other guy? Does he have lice and this naturopath is trying to squish all the little bugs? Now, I love humor that makes fun of doctors. Why? One, I just like humor. I like to laugh. I think we should enjoy life. And also because it's tough to make fun of patients and do it with a clear conscience. Now, I know people like all these videos the nurses make mocking patients, but I'm going to make funny medical videos in a way that doesn't do that. I'll use patient examples, of course, but as a means to highlight a point, not to just make fun of them. I don't think that's right. So you'd be shocked at the absurd things that people say or do to us or themselves to wind up in the ER. So back to the thrust of the joke video. Yes, of course we order a lot of CTs and MRIs. Why? Because we're in a zero-miss culture now. Gone are the days when we use our clinical acumen to make decisions. Patients don't want that. They want the expensive test. They want to feel validated. They want to know that we did everything we could to try to figure it out. Oftentimes they show up demanding a CAT scan and slam us when we don't order it. They often don't care at all for my opinion. They want the opinion of a radiologist who knows nothing about their presentation and often misses serious findings on a daily basis. And this is no offense to my radiology friends. I know you have a hard job. You're at home in a dark room trying to figure out what's going on in a patient that I'm in front of and actually touching. So the more eyes we can put on something, the better. Sorry, I just had to tweak them a little bit. See, I make fun of doctors, not patients. So I never once received an award from anyone for not ordering an imaging study, right? No one runs up and celebrates the money, time, and resources saved by using clinical judgment. No one applauds the lack of exposure to cancer-causing ionizing radiation. All they do is slam me for missing something on the first visit, despite me saying, return if your symptoms progress or worsen. It doesn't matter that 95% of the testing that we do is normal, and that I can usually predict when it will be abnormal. No one writes an online review thanking the doctor for not ordering a test. They only destroy us for not listening and blowing them off when we don't feel they need advanced testing. Because why? Well, patients know their body. Sure, they do, at some level, but doctors also know medicine, and we can combine the two to come up with a reasonable approach. And it's not to say we don't care about people, it's we don't think the testing's always needed. And this video highlights it perfectly. So much of medicine is theater to satisfy others. We could order half of the testing that we currently do in the ER and barely make a difference in the miss rate. So we'll continue ordering testing all day long on everything, because that's the culture you get from online reviews, malpractice attorneys, federal reporting requirements of timing and every other metric. All of this has created that environment. We can't even reply to online reviews because it's a HIPAA violation. Even if it's blatantly wrong or a lie, misrepresenting, we can't respond to it. Again, that's a topic for another day also. But for now, let's laugh at the situation in this video because it's sadly hilarious. So next up, a new segment called Things I Like. Now let me introduce you to this segment. I have a huge number of things that I like. It goes along with some of my ADHD tendencies. I can jump from one hobby to another in a matter of minutes. And as my wife will tell you, that's not always a positive. But this section will touch on some of them. So I love being creative. You can kind of see it around me and even this video itself. I like expressing myself, whether it's telling a story, writing a story, creating something physical, whatever. But I'm not artistic in the sense that I could grab a pencil and paper and create something impressive. Like, you don't want to see that. But I like to use technology as my medium. So I can create something in Illustrator or merge some things in Photoshop. I can write, I can type. 3D printers, right? CNC machines, LED lights. So for example, check out this clapperboard that I made. I love it. It helps me sync the audio tracks to the video and just plain looks cool. Now I plan to mount it behind me soon, but that brings us to today's thing I like. Govee permanent LED lighting for the house. I installed LED uplighting around the landscape this last summer at our new house and loved it. Then Christmas came and everyone put their lights up and my wife wanted a house along the gutter lines, you know, those professionally installed ones that look super straight and clean. So I looked at a service for those at our last house and the quote was about $3,000. And then that was for year one. And then each year it was over $1,000 to take them down and put them back up again. So we had this discussion about lights around Thanksgiving. Also happens to be the Black Friday time. So I asked a question on a DIY home improvement forum on Facebook here, and people talked about Govee lights. So I looked into them. I also saw trim light. I'm like, perfect. Like they'll do it all for me. But their quote was $9,500 for my house, and they couldn't do it until February. That included a 20% discount by waiting after the holidays. Their warranty and product is probably better than Govee, but at that price point, it wasn't going to happen. So I bought 400 feet of the Govee professional lights for $950 on Black Friday and went to work. They do sell them on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description, but I bought them straight from the manufacturer and they did ship quickly. So you can splice the Pro lights anywhere, and that let me customize it to our roof line. That's what I went with those. I tried to hire a few contractors to put them up, but failed miserably. All I really needed was a ladder work, but everybody was either too busy or they were too expensive. Now I hate ladders, but I decided to just make it happen. And my fears led me to learn a lot about ladder safety, including that I weighed 40 pounds more than my current ladder was rated for. So I rented a 40-foot ladder with a 300-pound capacity, and that was so much more solid, it felt great. But I don't recommend a 40-foot ladder. They're really heavy. They're hard to move around. And then you get really high off the ground when you use them, which I'm not a big fan of. But to hold the lights, I 3D printed these brackets because I wasn't going to watch sticky tape fail and drop my light off the soffit after 2 weeks. Like if you're going to go to the expense of this stuff and the time, you got to make it not fail. One time up a ladder is enough. So it took me close to 4 days to fully install around the house. And this is when it was cold and snowy. Now, my father was a huge help with logistics and getting the ladder into position, and can't thank him enough for that. The last step was installing over the hot tub, as you can see here, but we figured that out. Nobody got hurt. And now I can control each light individually all around the house, program them however I want. Their app has a ton of pre-made scenes, or you can create your own. And I've got some ideas for content creation around these that I'm excited for, but those are going to have to come out when my life slows down a bit. I just don't have time now. So for now, check out Govee. They're on Amazon, like I said, links in the description, or go to their own website. It's not just these LED outdoor lights. There's a ton of different options for lights and use cases. We recently bought their floating temperature sensor, put one in the pool, and one's in the hot tub now, but I'll put that in the lake once it warms up and it's not frozen. We also got some water leak detectors for around the house. So wait for a discount and jump on board. And I also added them to our workout room that only had a single inadequate light. And for a little bit more excitement, I added them to our basement TV for a background effect. Kids love watching movies or playing games with that effect on. And we're looking forward to using these lights at night during summer pool season or cheering on our favorite sports teams as they play. You can celebrate holidays or events anywhere in the world with a little DIY time. So that's it. Check out Govee on Amazon. And as I keep saying, I did put a link in the description below. Yes, of course, and it's an affiliate link because why wouldn't it be? It costs you nothing and might earn me a nickel. So we've come to the end of episode 3. Thank you so much for watching. Please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. My goal is 1,000 subscribers, just like everybody else, and I'm 10% of the way there. Now, I hope to do an on-location shoot for next week, and I'm still planning to rotate to the desk here. My friend's back in town, so we'll hopefully get set up with him for the interview soon. And I didn't get a chance to do this desk rotation because life kind of got in the way, and that's why I'm a little bit behind on this week's release. But go check out my other videos on the channel and download one of my books from Amazon. You'll be glad you did. See you next week, and now, go enjoy this beautiful gift of life.